Hello everyone, I'm Dan Filgreen, and this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, May 15th. On today's show, we learn how joint replacement can relieve the pain of arthritis. We'll also hear the remarkable story of Benno and Carla Benninga, who grew up Jewish in the Netherlands and survived World War II by hiding in the attic of a house for more than 2 years. But first, we have good news. The Suzy Q5 has finally come home. As you may remember, the Coast Guard put a stop to our Suzy Q boat tours last year, adding a laundry list of requirements to continue, including the construction of a brand new boat. Well, now that boat has arrived at Shell Point, and it's going through the final phases of testing. In the next few weeks and months, we'll be planning a christening event for the boat, after which Suzy Q boat tours will once again commence. And this pontoon boat is even better than the last one. It's more stable, with room for more seating, and it even has a bathroom on board. Stay tuned to Shell Point TV as we make plans for the maiden voyage of the brand new Suzy Q5. Now we turn our attention to the pain of arthritis. It's something that we all struggle with, but I can tell you from personal experience that there are treatments available to deal with the pain, from simple injections to complete joint replacements. Dr. David Eicthen knows all about these treatments, having trained with Dr. Humbert at Joint Implant Surgeons of Florida. Now he's bringing his expertise to a Health Connection class next Friday, May 24th. It's at 1 p.m. at the Woodlands in the Oak Room. Mary Franklin has this preview.
Hi, I'm Mary Franklin, bringing to you another Health Connection program, and this time Dr. Eicthen will be on property talking about joint replacement to relieve arthritic pain. And I know this is going to be very popular with a lot of you, and it will take place on Friday, May 24th in the Oak Room at 1 p.m. And if you'd like to sign up, you can do so at either service desk. And let's welcome Dr. Eicthen to Shell Point TV.
Well,
Thanks for being
much.
Here. Now, this isn't the first time you've been on Shell Point TV, but can you take a few minutes and remind our residents all about you?
Sure. I'm orthopedic surgeon. I did my training in Dayton, Ohio for residency. I've spent the last year with Dr. Edward Humbert doing a joint fellowship. So I like to do knee replacement, hip replacement, shoulder replacement. And that's why I got an extra year of training in it to get that much better. And I do see patients here out at Shell Point on Friday mornings. So, and I've met a lot of patients out here, and everybody's been great out here. So I'm happy to be here.
How about the arthritic and the joint? I mean, you hear I got arthritis. How do you know when it's time? I mean, is it because it's affecting your daily life that it's time to come see you?
Yeah, a lot of it can be activity related, and there's many different grades of arthritis, you know, from mild to moderate to severe. Obviously, the more severe it is, the closer you are to maybe thinking about a joint replacement. And there's no way to tell somebody you absolutely have to have a joint replacement. It's not cancer, so it's going to be up to them when it's affecting their activities. They want to get back to tennis, they want to get back to golf, and they want to get rid of the joint pain. And you've tried the conservative treatments. That's when it's time to think about having a joint replacement.
Okay. So I often hear that out on property. Oh, I'm holding off. I want to replace that knee or shoulder. I want to get through season and do it over the summer or so forth. So you're going to help wade through all of that a little
and we
bit.
can discuss that, and we can open it up to any questions that the residents have during the talk or after the talk.
Well, this is going to be very informative, and Dr. Eicthen will help you with all of your decision making to see maybe it is time for you to have one of your joints replaced. So make sure to sign up for this program at either service desk. It will take place on Friday, May 24th in the Oak Room at 1 p.m. I'm Mary Franklin along with Dr. Eicthen. Have a happy and healthy day.
Our next story is one of perseverance, patience, loss, and ultimately hope and love. Benno Benninga grew up Jewish in the Netherlands, as did his future wife, Carla. When the Nazis invaded, the two families basically had to find hiding places and didn't emerge for more than 2 years. Benno had to deal with not just the fear of being found out, but also the daily abuse of the people who were hiding them. Eventually, liberation came, and Benno and Carla were so thankful to the Americans that they decided to move to America and made their home in Cincinnati. After moving to Florida, they also repeatedly shared their story, both through public speaking engagements and through writing a book called In Hiding. Here now is the story of Benno and Carla Benninga.
I was born in a small town in the Netherlands called Leeuwarden, capital of the province of Friesland. Friesland is a dairy province. The Holstein cows come from there, the white and black cows. That's what it's known for. And of course the dairy industry, although my father had a margarine factory. And people ask me, how come in the dairy country you make margarine? But in those days, the people exported the butter and ate the margarine.
I was born in The Hague, which is the seat of government in Holland.
Our mothers were cousins. And I knew Carla when she was a little girl. And I told her then, just grow up as fast as you can so we can get married. In 1940, May 10, the Germans invaded. And the first year and a half or so, they left us alone. But then all hell broke loose. And all the regulations came that we weren't allowed to do this and that. People had been picked up and were sent to concentration camps. So that's when my parents decided to go into hiding, which was very, very difficult. My father had 100 people working for him, and there wasn't one who offered to help us until my mother's seamstress came to us and put the key on the table. And when my mother said, what is that? She said, if it gets too hot for you, you come and stay with us. And they lived with 2 children in a small flat in Amsterdam, and they took us in too. But we could not stay there because the son had to go to work to Germany, and when they would come to pick him up, they would find us. So then we had to find another place, and that was under the smoke of Amsterdam in a small town. And these people had no money, but they figured the war is going to be over in a few months. So for a sum of money, they offered to take us in. Very small house, and we were in the attic most of the time. Unless she was in a good mood, we were allowed to sit in the living room. The woman started to abuse us terribly, physically and mentally. I read some books when she would allow us. We were playing some cards once in a while until she forbade that. We had a radio, and we would listen to the Allied radio from London, the Dutch radio, free Dutch. When she would let us, you know. But other than that, the local papers were all German, of course. We could not venture out, it was too dangerous. Even the neighbors weren't supposed to know that we were there. Although the woman shouted and screamed, so after the war, we found out that the whole village knew that we were there. And I'm telling you, I'm so unbelievably grateful for that whole village that they never told the Germans about us. I still don't understand how I survived those 2 years. Our godsend was the minister who lived there. He visited us, and he took my mother and sister in with them in the house next to the church. And then the last few weeks, my father and I were there too, until we were liberated.
November 41, the Germans came to the house. We all had to move to Amsterdam they wanted to have every Jew that was there in Amsterdam was the easy target. We were allowed to take, I believe, our beds and our clothes, and that was about it. So we went into hiding, except unlike Benno, we all went different places. I was the first one picked up, which I considered lucky. And then they came for my parents, left my sister. The fact that my parents left my 13-year-old sister not really knowing whether people would come, but they did. So none of us knew where the other one was. I was 15 years old, and I had to have an optimistic view or I wouldn't be able to make it. My sister actually wasn't that far away, but I didn't know it. But finally I found out and was able to go see her. And about my parents, I didn't know anything. They found out that my parents were there and they picked them up, taken to a concentration camp in Holland by the name of Westerbork, which was basically a holding camp. They never killed anybody, but the trains to Germany went every Tuesday. But my parents were there afterwards at the time that the trains didn't run anymore. So they survived. I was able to get books to study. I think I was a year away from high school graduation. Went to take a typing course, very first thing I did when I was free. And then I found a job with the American forces. They had a headquarters in that town, and I spoke English. So, and I could type. So they gave me a job, and then when I went to see my parents, they gave me some sort of American Army jacket and some papers, and it took us I think 4 or 5 days to do 200 miles because all the bridges were out. There was 3 bridges in Holland that you have to cross normally on a bridge, but they were down. It was a happy ending. There weren't very many people in Holland that survived as a whole family. In our family, we were the only ones. All the others were either gone or they had the family member missing.
My father lost all his brothers and sisters with their families. My grandfather was killed in Auschwitz. It's been a long time, and yet we still think a lot about that time, which sort of influenced part of our life.
We both went to the university.
Yeah, we both went to university, and her mother invited me from time to time for dinner. So I figured I should reciprocate. So I thought, well, I'll invite one of the daughters to the movie, and from then on, we dated. We were married in 1950. A week or so after my final exam, we boarded the New Amsterdam and we came to America on the boat. America was the country that liberated us, and we were in awe of this fantastic country. And I wrote all the margarine companies in America, and the one company in Cincinnati accepted me. We were written up in the papers and all that, and we were invited by people. And I had to give a talk to the local accountants branch about the economic situation in Holland. I still don't know how I did it.
And what was it?
New York.
The hot dogs. And they said, would you like a hot dog? I said, I don't eat dogs. You know, I mean, you think you just never would think of.
Our daughter was born in 1952. Her name was Irene. And our son, Ron, was born in 55. The big shock of our life is when our daughter in 1971 went to Europe. They rented a little cottage. Gas heater was vented in instead of out. Our daughter, who was 19, died of carbon monoxide. You never get over it, obviously, but we were able to live. I was asked by Edison College, they have every year Holocaust Remembrance Week. And I talked to the students there, sometimes as many as 300, and they are very interested and ask a lot of good questions. And also at the Holocaust Museum in Naples, and so has Carla.
Yeah. I believe it was an 8th grade class, and I told them, you know, when this happened, I was exactly your age. When you're 15, 16, 17, that's when you grow up. So I had to make lots of decisions on my own, and they weren't used to. My sister, same thing. That we were really grown up, having gone through all this.
It is so important that the story gets told, because pretty soon there won't be any survivors anymore.
Holland had, I believe, 140,000 Jews before the war, and only about 30,000 survived.
I still don't understand how I survived those 2 years in that condition. It's a miracle.
Have you heard of other amazing wartime stories like these? We want to know about them. Contact Jared Pike by phone or by email and help us share these stories on Shell Point TV. For now, it's time to cover all of today's happenings from Resort Services. Then, after your Academy news and menus, stay tuned for Village Church Connections.
Hi everybody, it's Wednesday, May 15th. I'm Bev Chandley here with Suzanne Savada, and we're going to go over the happening segment of Shell Point TV. We're going to start out our activities this morning at 7:45 with the men's Bible study. They'll be gathering in the Osprey Room on the island. At 9 o'clock, we have Jurassic Travel. They'll be in the Egret Room. If you have some travel needs, head on down there. I'm sure they can help you out. At 9 o'clock, men's match play tennis will be at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. Also at 9 o'clock, we have the watercolor group with Phil Hilton. They'll be in the art studio down in the tunnel. At 10 o'clock, it's the time for ladies' Bible study in the Osprey Room. At 10:15, the Model Yacht Club sailing group will be sailing their boats down at the Woodland Commons Lake. We move on to 11 o'clock, where the neuropathy support group will be in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. And then 11:30, our last activity of the morning, we have a Health Connections class, Specifics in Strength Training. That'll be in the Health Club. It's currently full. That's the morning lineup. Here's Suzanne to tell you about the afternoon activities.
At 1 o'clock, chess will be played in the library lounge on the island. At 1:45, we have a Health Connections, Balance and Mobility Training Level 1 in the Health Club on the island, and this is closed. 2:15 is the time for Knitters Anonymous to meet in the Osprey Room on the island. And at 2:30, Jazz and Stuff will be playing in the Grand Cypress Room at the Woodlands. 3 o'clock, the Bible study group will meet in the community room of King's Crown. Also at 3 o'clock, we have a Health Connections Pilates stretch in the Health Club on the island. And we have the Memory Care group meeting in the 3rd floor craft room of King's Crown on the island. This is also at 3 o'clock, and sign up is required. At 4:30, indoor bocce will be played on the Health Club on the island. And at 4:30, the Lily Jewelers will be in the Egret Room on the island for the weekly jewelry service. At 5:45, the church choir will rehearse in the choir room of the village church. And at 7:15, there'll be prayer and praise in the village church on the island. Thank you for joining us here today, and we'll see you back here for Thursday's happenings.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with your Academy update for Wednesday. At 1:15 today, we have an iPad class. Got one? Now what? This continues in the Manatee Room on the island. Tomorrow we have a new class, E-Reader Apple iPad, by Bruce Findlay of Sundial.
Menus for Wednesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is grilled strip steak with baked potatoes and green beans. The dinner special is the pasta buffet for $11.95, and the soup is pasta fagioli. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy a chicken quesadilla with fresh fruit for $6.95. The dinner special is fried shrimp for $7.95. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are chicken Orleans for $13.95 or grilled mahi-mahi for $13.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and this afternoon we are here with Nell White. And Nell, we have a congregation that loves to study the Scriptures, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And as a result, we do a lot more than just Sunday morning kinds of instruction in terms of Sunday morning messages in the worship service. Right. We have a whole process called Christian Life Studies. That's right. And we're getting ready to start a whole new sort of period of time for that in the summer. And
right.
And so, Nell, you've been involved in the Christian Education Committee and certainly helping to put this kind of thing together. So tell us a little bit about the classes that are going to be offered and where they take place.
Okay. We have 3 adult classes and 1 youth class. Mm-hmm. Adult classes, we have one at the Woodlands that David and Eleanor Perkins are the teachers. Mm-hmm. They will be continuing in their study of the book of James.
Oh, okay.
This is an inductive type Bible study.
Right.
Line by line, verse by verse.
That's right.
The people that attend this class are very happy with it.
Absolutely.
David and Eleanor are excellent.
So an inductive Bible study is kind of like let the Bible speak for itself.
Right.
So they try to get a sense of the understanding of a book of the Bible on its own, and then they break it down into its parts, and
right.
that's a great way to study the Scriptures.
Well, this particular class loves that. Mm-hmm. And then our next class we hold in the chapel at the church. This particular session of time, they will have 3 teachers, Emerson Ross, Arnie Sharesky, and Wally Yeager. Mm-hmm. And these men will rotate with their teaching. Mm-hmm. The remainder of May, they'll complete the book of 2 Peter. Mm-hmm. And then beginning with June, they'll go into the minor prophets.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking this morning, they're not minor, but what they teach.
Right.
They're minor because they're smaller
books.
That's
right. They're you think of the major prophets as like Isaiah and Jeremiah, right. And Ezekiel. Those are the mm-hmm. bigger books. But there's some important things in the other prophets of the Old Testament as well.
Definitely.
And so they'll be looking at Nahum and Zephaniah.
Yes,
yeah.
And then if, it depends on how the time goes, they could get into Habakkuk and mm-hmm. Some of the other smaller ones.
Yeah, and there's some interesting things related to Christ in some of those books, too.
There certainly is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it will be a great study. Mm-hmm. And there's one thing that we have done for this class. We've ordered study guide books.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Not only for the teachers, but for the people in
mm-hmm.
the class that
Excellent.
would want to take a book home.
Absolutely.
And be ready for the next class.
That's great. Mm-hmm.
And then in the hospitality room, we're going to be studying about the book of Ruth. Mm-hmm. And Jim Riccatelli will be the teacher there.
Very good.
He's approaching Ruth maybe in a different way from what we have always studied her. He says there are 71 Hebrew words that lead to the central verse in chapter 2, verse 20.
Oh, wow.
So he's evidently quite a scholar.
Yeah, he is.
And he'll spend time on the meanings of names in the book.
Right.
And what will lead up to will be the lineage of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
It's always been exciting to me to see how the Bible makes much of the background, the ancestry of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And some of those people in the ancestry of Jesus weren't even Jews. And one example of that is Ruth. Who was a Gentile Moabitess. And so that's really neat to see what God does in putting together His redemptive history, really, in providing for the Messiah.
Right. Yeah. So it should be a real interesting class. Mm-hmm. All of these teachers are to me, they're empowered by God to be teachers.
Absolutely. I've been, in coming here, just having been here just a few months, I've just been very delighted with the level of instruction, the kind of qualifications that the teachers have here. We have some fantastic people who have really been into the Scriptures for many, many decades in some cases, and they really do understand the basic essence of these books that they're teaching.
And we're very blessed with that.
Yeah, and all the teachers that you mentioned certainly fit into those categories.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, these classes begin at what time?
At the Woodlands at 9 a.m. and in the church at 9:15.
That's great. So even if they aren't in the church, if they're on one of the other neighborhoods like Eagles Preserve or the Woodlands, there's a place out there at 9 o'clock that they can connect with the Christian Life Studies, and then on campus here in the church facility at 9:15.
And the class at the Woodlands ends in time for people to come to our worship service later.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nell, for being here. We're delighted to see that these classes are up and running, and they start, by the way, which date?
May 19th.
May 19th.
And go through June 30th.
So that'll be this coming Sunday.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
And so we're looking forward to it. So thank you for joining us and explaining what's going on in Christian Life Studies. And thank you all for joining us for the Village Church Connections this week.
We're glad you've joined us for today's show. Tune in tomorrow as Don Stainhook discusses the latest installment of his lecture series, Beautiful Science. We'll also visit the butterfly garden, where beautiful flowers attract beautiful butterflies. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Wednesday, May 15th. I'm Dan Filgreen, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.